evening, everyone, and welcome to the Adventure Seeker Sarah Show. I'm coming to you tonight from a very special place. If you've been watching any of my live streams, you know about the art bus. So recently, we acquired a bus. And the story of how we got there is not really important. The part of the story that is important is that now I have a 20-seater bus in my driveway that is, let me just get out and show you this wonderful beast, that is covered in art. So the whole thing is just covered in art, and it's amazing. So again, how we got there, not really important. The important part is now I have this bus. So what does that mean? Well, I homeschool, right? So now we'll be able to go on homeschool field trips on the bus. So Lyndon will be riding around in an art bus for a lot of his school trips. But that's cool, right? Because I've organized these trips for years, and now I get to make them maybe a little bit further away, give people the experience of riding on the bus, because that's a thing that homeschoolers really look forward to for some strange reason. But I'm able to use this bus to take something I was already doing and make it even cooler. But it gets better than that, right? So now I have this bus. I have to license it. I have to have it registered to transport passengers. So we like beer. We're gonna do beer tours. I love art. I'm gonna do art tours. Like, I love Christmas and Halloween. We will definitely work the bus into that. Like, this will be an awesome adventure party bus. Like, I basically get to take my adventures, throw them on a bus for everyone to come with me. So that's pretty awesome, right? I'm really loving that this bus is going to do some very interesting things over the next little while. Now, I'm going to open the door. Oh, no, I'm not. It's locked from the other side. Okay, but I am going to go get a few people to come and chat with us, because as we look at this bus that's going to have so many adventures, I'm going to talk to some of the people that have gone on adventures with me, and we'll come have a chat in the bus about adventures thus far. So let's go see who we can find. No, can't lose the keys. Okay, let's go. So because we're having movie night at the house tonight, it just so happens that a lot of my favorite people are here at my house. And that gives me a chance to talk to a lot of people that I've gone on adventures with and that are important in my life, all at the same time, on air. I didn't even plan this, so. All right, who's first? I heard, who's first? I don't know, what are we doing? So they sent someone brave.
You put two away.
Follow me to the bus, Nick.
I'm right there.
All right, back to the bus we go. I think the bus is a good place for a little mini interview, don't you? Here, let's show you the bus while we go. Isn't that awesome? I'm very excited. I'm very excited with the bus. All right, so I'm gonna have Nick come join me, and if you're paying any attention, you've probably seen some of our adventures already, right? So when I went to Costa Rica recently, Nick was doing a lot of my adventuring there with me. We went on a big epic Santa adventure. Hello. We went on a big epic Santa adventure earlier this summer. He came to WBC with us, so there's been lots of adventuring happening in your life lately, right?
There has been, much more than I'm used to.
So think back over the last year of, oh my gosh, not even close to
Not even a year yet, no.
Think back on that time and all of the very adventure-y things that we did. Like you stepped outside of your comfort zone a lot of times.
Way out. Yeah.
What was your favorite adventuring memory so far?
So far, my favorite adventuring memory was doing Santa Claus in, I believe it was Kingston we were at, and just the throngs of people who had gathered around, and it was just an incredible amount of fun, and it was just great seeing the smiles on people, you know, and I just fell in love with doing that. You know, really at that point, it was a lot of fun up to then, but it was at that point that I thought this is really something that I want to keep doing.
That was pretty amazing. Like, honestly, we showed up just by mistake when the Busker Festival was there. I just wanted to go down and look at, like, they have some historic sites. There's a train and a lighthouse, and so I wanted to go down and look at that for, you know, travel writing purposes for A Canada, and the buskers were there, and then so was Santa. So there were like a million children. It was amazing, but
yeah,
but that happened everywhere. But that one was like en masse. So I can see how it was. I can see who it was.
That was amazing, and it wasn't just the kids too. You know, what's really funny is how Santa appealed to adults and young adults, teenagers. Just it ran the whole age spectrum. And everybody was just knocked out to see Santa in July.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that you're expecting, like, at all, right? So, you know how I love absurdity. Like, it was fantastic, but it also made a lot of people really happy, right? Like, my favorite memory, I think. I mean, we've done a lot of cool things, and you know, I loved a lot of the things in Costa Rica. There were some wonderful parks. It's a beautiful place. We'll go back there again. But my favorite might also be a Santa thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I was in Niagara Falls yesterday, I was thinking about the laser tag kid.
Yes.
So we got passes. Like, if you go to Niagara Falls, most of the hotels, if you go on Groupon, also have like a voucher package, so you can go do a bunch of adventures. And so we had one that was for a whole bunch of silly things, you know, laser tag, time blaster, which is a thing where you run around the room and have to bop balls. So we almost died because neither of us are really very in shape. But laser tag, we went down to go do, and there just happened to be a little kid there who was going to play laser tag with just his mom. And then all of a sudden, this kid was getting to play laser tag with Santa. And like, I kept telling Nick, like, think of it, like, that's a core memory now. Like, that kid is never going to forget that moment. And thinking about those little moments of like, this is embedded in someone's life forever. There were so many of those.
Yes.
And we were only away for 5 days, you know?
But what a 5-day trip that was.
Yeah, it was.
That was amazing.
We fit an awful lot in. Okay, well, thank you for sharing. Why don't you go find me my next victim? And I'm going to sit here and tell some stories about adventuring with Santa.
Okay.
Yeah, so there were a few of those really stunning moments. But one other one that I really loved was, if you've been to Grimsby Beach has an area called the Painted Ladies. It's a whole bunch of cottages and homes painted really brightly and beautifully. They have, you know, like the gingerbread trim, and it's beautiful. And I've taken some photos of that place for A Canada Travel. So if you haven't seen it, you can go there and look at those. But while we were there were a couple of ladies who were very excited to see Santa and talked to us for a while, got some pictures. And then one of them said, could you please come with me and take a picture in front of this cottage? And apparently she'd been telling her grandkids since they were very little that cottage that they lived in was Santa's summer workshop. So she'd been telling this story about Santa living in the cottage next door for all of these years to her grandkids. And then she got to take a picture of Santa standing in front of that cottage. So that's kind of cool, right? Like, there were a whole bunch of other moments with children and kids who their parents would say, oh my gosh, you know, she's been afraid of Santa forever. But that's because Nick is magic. He's like magic Santa. Every child that he comes across, every person that he comes across, he's able to interact with in such like a beautiful, authentic way that really reaches that person. So traveling around with Santa was a fascinating experience. I really, really enjoyed that. And I think next, next we've got Jen coming. Yeah, I see you, Jen.
I'm coming to the driver's door.
Yeah. I don't know how to get the door open. We'd have to ask Josh.
Hey, hello.
So I don't know if you were watching from inside, but
I was not. I am very supportive, but I was kidding.
So what I'm talking about today is I'll get you in there in a sec. So what I'm talking about today is people that are important in my life that I've gone on lots of adventures with. And we've done a lot of like micro adventures and some major adventures. And we're about to do a really big adventure going to Zambia together. But I want you to think about we've known each other for years now. We've done a lot of things together. What is your favorite adventure memory from those years?
Oh, favorite to date. Spot. Okay, let me think. We've done a lot. This isn't like when my husband, and when you ask him the same thing, he'll be on here and he'll be like, I don't know. I don't remember anything that happened past today. But no, we did, you know, I think sometimes the bad adventures are the best adventures. So I don't want to say, but we went one place about a year and a half ago, and it was with, it was a nice idea in principle, and it was fun, but it was all like rainy, and we had to go in a swamp. I'll just say it. We went to some guys I know place that they own, but then he was just not comfortable around kids, and I was just like, what a weird adventure this was, because like I took them to a place where there was like 5 kids that we brought, and I think like if you don't want kids around, you should probably like say that somewhere in your adventure. Like I really prefer the little ones not to come. So I think I enjoyed that one because it was just so surreal. Like after the fact that we were just like we had fun and we saw each other, but that guy was right. So I think that's why I enjoyed it the most. But some of the small things too, like we went trampolining this month. We did a lot this month, but I think sometimes it's those small adventures. Like, so we went once just to support something I was doing, so in comedy. So it was the first sort of trip we'd all taken together, and I was performing comedy, and we ended up going for nice strolls around Montreal and seeing things through another person's eye, which is a huge part of adventuring, right? So I've been places, you've done places. So I've been to Montreal a zillion times, and she was like, "Did you do this?" I'm like, "Nope." "Did you do this?" "No." Okay, basically I've been to a strip club and I've been eating poutine. Woohoo! I'm an adventurer. So
and smoked meat.
And all the smoked meat. So yeah, I think those are the main adventures. Like, so I think anything that isn't as fun is almost fun for us, because it's a story, and it's a shared moment, and it's a connected on emotion. So yeah, I love all the other stuff we did, but there's just something about hey, that didn't work, but we were still together, as opposed to that's good, unless it's skydiving. Then
I literally totally forgot about that crazy,
because we do. So
it was fun though. It was fun,
and it was COVID, so it was also, I think, our first post COVID, or in the middle of COVID,
when we thought it was
one of them. Yeah,
and
we are all social distancing as well, so that we were aware.
So maybe that's why it was. But it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, like, that didn't make it less fun. It just
absolutely. And so I think, but sometimes like a random. Oh, you know what? I'll say this. So sometimes the adventures are the ones you don't plan, and that's so. And this was just a few weeks ago. We're having a regular barbecue. Her kids are around, and at midnight they're like, "Okay, we're gonna watch a movie," and we're like, "See you." And the girls are like, "No, we need you to watch this movie." And I said, "Okay, what movie?" And they're like, "Orphan." I was like, "It's a horror movie. I don't like horror movies. Why do you? We want you to stay." So they actually, 4 of them did presentations. So by the end of their presentations, trying to convince me to stay, persuasive speech, which is homeschooling. Hello. Now it's 1 a.m. So they're all telling me I have to make a decision, and my husband is texting me the whole time, right beside me, but texting me, "Did you know it's 1 a.m.? Did you know it's 1 a.m.?" And I'm like, "Fine, let's do it." But what was so fun, it was so, we're all in the moment. We're focused on sharing something they all really enjoy with me. Completely didn't think about the context of the movie, and the movie was about and you don't know me probably, but it was about a recovering alcoholic, wine drinking specifically, who adopts someone from like an orphanage or foster child. So I'm a recovering alcoholic, wine was my drink of choice, and I'm going through some really rough times with my adopted children. So the whole time I was just like, and I think I looked over at them and they just kept laughing because they're like, we really weren't doing this on purpose to like trigger you. And I wasn't even triggered, but I was like, is my mom going to come out soon and tell me how much I don't matter, or that I'm doing something wrong? Like, is this really a Jen Hayward's, on a mushroom trip? Like, what is going on? So I think those spontaneous moments that have laughs after, like, look at right now.
It was really funny. It was very much not on purpose, and I am a terrible friend for not remembering. This is my favorite horror movie. Like, I've watched this at least a dozen times. It's not like I shouldn't know the content.
She was one of the reasons they stopped drinking.
But for context, I actually have like no movie brain. Right?
Yeah,
like I kind of remember the movie. That's why I can watch movies 6 times. I keep a lot of things up here. And movies just go into temporary storage and then go away so I can watch them again. So I should have known.
So she's very Buddhist with her movies, and it was fun. Like, I didn't jump off a bridge or anything. I'm just saying, at 3 o'clock, I was just like, and I mean, that was the same night that I went for a walk with your kids. They tried to lure me to the woods, and I was like, and they're like, no, we won't murder you. And I was like, oh, I think you're buffered.
I'm not.
Really? Because I'm not moving.
Oh.
We're buffer. Okay. And they were like, but her kids are actors. And I was like, listen, I know.
In horror movies.
Yeah. So I know the math says that, like, everyone knows I went for a walk with these 2 tweens or teens, and that I won't get murdered, but I've watched a Law and Order. And I was like, I don't know. There's usually people who die in the woods. So, but they're actors. So they said, oh, Auntie Jen, we won't kill you. And I was like, and they said it like an actor, not like what I just did. And I was scared to death. And then the whole time, like, I was literally thinking, this could actually happen, because they were like now acting and they were saying a lot of creepy things. And then, but then someone drove by. I said, oh, good, a witness. And so those moments, I think that are just spontaneous. Like, so when a lot of people are together doing an activity, an adventure, and then it's when you can go off and you can be like, that was a little fun, like sub-adventure, because sometimes letting things unfold is almost as fun as here's my huge itinerary. And
that goes for life in general, by the way, not just for adventures.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes like some adventurers are like, yeah, you just show up in a country and then fine. No. I make sure I always have somewhere to live. But so yeah, we are heading to Zambia, and you will definitely be getting lots of live streams. She will be. I know some of the places that we're going to take her, but you're going to learn a lot, because she's adventure seeker Sarah.
It's going to be really fun.
Is living in a convent. And so if you know Adventure Seeker Sarah, that's hilarious, but also it makes perfect sense. So just like everything else, nothing makes sense, but everything makes sense. So thank you for having me on. I would even promo my show, but I don't really have. But if you're in Ottawa, and the Jen Hayward Show is live, and we're also doing a birthday celebration for Sarah. The tickets, and we'll put it in the link, or someone will. I won't, but someone will. It's fun. We have comedy, we have music, we have board games, we have networking.
And it's at a brewery.
It's at a brewery, and we're launching some really cool initiatives. But on that, we actually believe, if you believe sort of like we do, that people who are coming, they're going to take something away from it. Mm-hmm. Every single person. We believe that. So definitely check out. If you're in Ottawa, you should be there. And if you're not from Ottawa and you're a huge supporter of Adventure Seeker Sarah, buy a ticket and let her know that it's paid forward. And we'll make sure that it goes to, we often give tickets to people in charities, not necessarily because it's at a brewery, the people on the ground. No, I've done that. But staff who are on the front lines making very low wages, so who wouldn't be able to afford or wouldn't think to go, because it's a lot of fun, and we're fit, just like Sarah and I would do, as many things as possible into it. So it doesn't matter if you're businessy or you're personally, like music, you like comedy, you will have something you like, and it's ridiculously low priced.
And it's my birthday, and it'll be lots of fun. So you should definitely
come.
It's
helping us out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Okay, send me the next one.
All right, I will. All right.
So yes, Zambia, that should be very interesting. As Jen mentions, we're staying in a convent. And actually, there's a bit of a connection with the homeschooling too, because Sister Rose actually did some classes with our girls when Jen was doing a class with them. So Sister Rose came in. So I've actually met her, and she's lovely. And so it'll be nice to go on an adventure to see someone who's already had some sort of role in my life and even helped my children. So that's pretty cool. And then, adventures everywhere. So we're going to do lots of live streaming from there, just like I did when I was in Costa Rica. Yeah, Jen's been around for a while, so we've done lots of adventures. But I think for me, probably my favorite was the one that we just had. We all went to the World Board Game Championships together in the bus, actually, so that's a good tie-in, and it was phenomenal. We had a few rooms because all the kids were there too, and we sort of just made group meals and wandered between rooms and took turns taking care of Lyndon, and had parties at night and went to games together and went to games separately, met new friends. No, it was phenomenal. And for me, I think it's pretty valuable to, when I'm about to go to Zambia with someone for a couple of weeks, to have had a longer adventure with them, because lots of my adventures with Jen are short ones. We went to an escape room one time, and that's probably my favorite, where it was just the two of us. We were doing an awesome job. And then we found out there was a hatch in the floor into a lower level, and Jen was just like, "Nope, I'm done. You're on your own now." It was a funny moment. It was awesome. So now we have Chris here. Now, Chris has been around for almost as long as Adam. So he's been around a long, long time. And we've, at different times in our life journey, have gone on a lot of adventures. So because of how long you've been around, we've gone on adventures together and with friends and with the kids. And you've just been in the sphere of adventure for a very long time. So you have a lot to choose from. What I'm asking everyone today is what your favorite adventure memory with me so far has been.
Okay, so I don't know if it's the favorite, but definitely the one that kind of most sticks out, the most crazy events come from, and most crazy things that I feel like we shared was Theodore Roosevelt National Park. Yes. Yeah. So we decided we were going to go on this 26-mile drive through this park, because that's how it's set up, and we're expecting to see all this wildlife and nothing. We saw a horse maybe way off in the distance. We saw a couple of prairie dogs, but nothing crazy. And we'd literally make a comment about how, I really wish we had seen a little bit more animals, because there's only a few miles left in the trip. And then we turn around the corner, and we are in a herd of buffalo. And
so many buffalo.
It was crazy.
It was actually a buffalo that we saw off in the distance, by the way. It was up on the mountain. Yeah. My whole thing was I just wanted to see one while we were there. And because we'd stopped at a visitor center just before, and I realized that that's what we might see, and I was very excited. And then we saw one way off in the hills. And I was like, oh, well, guess that counts. And then we turned around the corner, and we could literally reach out the window and touch them. Dozens.
Yeah. Well, and they bumped up against the car, shook the car around a little bit, and it was awesome. And then we also got to essentially the rest of the trip was filled with prairie dogs.
Yeah, I was just gonna say after that, then it was nonstop fields of prairie dogs popping up and calling. And
and Sarah was super excited, and she's like, "Oh, prairie dogs!" And literally, it sounded like there's a little meep off in the thing. Humans from the prairie dogs. So it was pretty sweet that way. And I think we did see wild horses though on that. We did.
Thing, right? I didn't even know that wild horses were a thing.
Yeah.
I know they're not true wild horses. They're domesticated horses that have escaped and bred. But I still didn't even know that was a thing. And so we drove around the corner, and I was like, "Is there a farm here?"
Yeah, right.
And then there were more. Are those wild horses? Is that even a thing?
And it's a thing. Yeah. It's a thing.
So yeah, there were tons of those. That was really cool. It's funny. I was actually like I said, we've been on a lot of adventures together, a lot. Not even on that same trip. We went almost all the way across Canada on a Greyhound bus, and a million other things. but I was actually going to pick the same adventure.
Oh, nice.
So that's funny. And I have a moment from that I'm not sure if you remember, but I talk about a lot. It's if someone ever asked me, like, what's the stupidest thing you've ever done? Or what was the most dangerous thing you've done on an adventure? Or what's the closest you've come to dying? You've come to dying.
Okay.
This would be my story. Do you remember when we went to go hiking? There was like a trail that you could stop at to hike. And we took the wrong path, but there was like a cliff, like a ledge along a cliff.
Yep.
We're like, oh, but if we just go there, then we can like get back over to the path. Why either of us thought that was a good idea, I don't know. But the rocks definitely crumbled out from under my feet, and I had to like grab onto the wall to not die. So it's funny that I think of that as like a favorite, but it is a strong memory.
Well,
which
so after Theodore Roosevelt National Park, we head towards Yellowstone, and to get to Yellowstone, you have to drive up a mountain, and it was felt almost exactly like that rock fall situation, except in a car on roads that literally like the jackknife back and forth.
Yeah,
and
that was terrifying.
You get closer to the top of that mountain, and all of a sudden it's snowing. This is August, and it's snowing, and we're like, what is going on? Where are we? So and then, when we actually finally settled in for the night, it was sleeping in a tent right beside a sign that says, warning, bears in the area. So, that trip was filled with some interesting times.
I should mention, by the way, talking about that mountain, Chris doesn't drive. So I don't know if it's worse for the driver or the passenger, but that can be our debate from here.
Fair, very fair.
Yeah. So speaking of driving, we're gonna have to all get new licenses for the bus, so that'll be fun. So maybe I'll live stream that too. Okay, go get me my next victim.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So we've also done a lot of traveling with kids with Chris. So that is a very useful thing to have when you go to amusement parks with a family that has 4 children. So having an extra adult to go on rides, because people don't always want to go on the same things, and maybe someone is getting sick. And so that extra adult, man, anybody who has kids, if you have 4 kids, you need to bring 3 adults. It's going to change your amusement park world. So that's, I think my favorite Chris adventure, aside from the one I said, because our trip to Theodore Roosevelt was very cool and very spontaneous. And the way that we got there was actually kind of funny too. He was on his way to Fort McMurray, where I lived, was traveling with friends, and their engine just like exploded, and they went back home, and he was stuck in North Dakota. So I went to rescue him, and when we got there, we looked at a map and realized, oh, look, we're close to these national parks. Let's do this for a couple of days. So it was kind of a bad adventure that led to a good one, which is kind of neat. I have even had adventures with Chris when he wasn't even technically there, and I think that's my other favorite. So we homeschool the kids. We were going on a self-guided geology tour of Ottawa, and Chris knows a lot about geology. And so I actually had him Skyped in on our adventure, telling the girls about everything that we were seeing. He like looked over the itinerary ahead of time and prepared for it, and it was like really cool to be able to involve him even when he wasn't in town, because he lives in a different city. So except me and Adam. Oh, he's driving a bus.
Driving a bus.
Not yet. You're not. You need an F-class license.
I thought we were going to do a bit where I was going to drive the bus.
All right, let's come talk about adventures.
All right.
So
Nice.
when Adam first came on the scene, I've known Adam for a very, very long time. But when we first got together, I did tell him that his life would be full of adventures, and he had said that he'd recently told one of his best friends that he wished he had more adventure in his life. And I said, oh man, be careful what you wish for. So how's that going for you,
Yeah, it's
Adam?
going great. It's going great.
Are you tired?
Yes.
Yes. We do a lot of things. I think we had one summer where we were home like 5 days the whole summer, and they were non-consecutive.
Something like that.
Yeah. So although we do have a house that we live in, we don't always spend a heck of a lot of time here. So what I'm asking everyone today is, you've had an awful lot of adventures with me, both, when we were younger and then with the kids. And we've gone on lots of adventures alone. We've gone on some adventures with friends. You've got a lot to choose from. But of all of the adventures we've done, what is your favorite adventure memory so far?
You want to talk about the North Carolina trip?
Oh, yeah.
Because that had a great vibe.
Yeah, that was a great trip. Yeah.
It was fun, and we were visiting friends, and we hit an amusement park and museums, and what else were we hitting on that trip?
Gem digging!
Oh, was gem digging on that trip
Yes,
too?
it was. There's
man.
a place.
I'd forgotten about that.
I've been wanting to go gem digging there for like 6 years. It'd been on my radar, and I kept almost planning trips, and then things kept happening, and so that was like one of the big reasons we wanted to go. Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting, like, that little element was kind of interesting, because we got to just dig in the dirt for rocks, but you got to spend some time like watching Lyndon do that. How was that for you?
I mean, he didn't really do some deep digging very well, but we did a lot of wandering around and looking at rocks.
And
so, it was good.
So the other thing we tried to go for was hang gliding. We were supposed to go hang gliding in the Outer Banks, and then there were storms, and so it was shut down for days. But we got to reroute. So what about that part of the trip?
Washington, D.C. was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, had never been there or even close to it. And we had some cool museums, and we got to see the White House. And we were up on the Lincoln Memorial, which is really cool.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. We had this moment where, like, we were saying to the kids that going to DC is like such a huge thing for a lot of high schoolers in the States, right? Like, it's one of their big, end of the year trips or whatever. And how wonderful is it for them that they've, had the privilege to be able to travel so much, and that a moment of, oh shoot, the thing we're doing was canceled. Guess let's go to DC. Like, that's that, and it was interesting to see them like reflect on that and go, yeah, actually that is pretty cool. Because I think for kids sometimes it's hard to see, that they have an advantage by being able to travel, and that's something special that not everybody gets to do, right? But how do you think Lyndon will respond to all of this travel? Like, he's an interesting little fella. So
he's doing good with traveling so far most of the time.
Yeah, you think he'll be a good traveler overall?
I think so.
Yeah. He's done some long trips. We've gone to Nova Scotia a couple of times, and he seems to really enjoy that. And I don't think we've really brought him to anything like, boy, he's had a lot of adventures already. I don't think we're gonna get him on the bus to say which is his favorite, but why don't you send me someone?
I saw Josh.
Oh, I think out here. We do have to figure out how to get the door open, though.
Have you not been on a bus before?
Yeah, but I think there must be something else going on there.
Oh.
Because see?
Oh, there's just like this little plate here that holds it from swinging, and then you.
Did Adam fix it? Oh my gosh. No.
Maybe it's locked.
It's okay. You know what?
I don't know.
Why don't we? It's actually getting kind of warm in here. We'll just hang out over here.
We're trying to open the door.
Okay, that's easy. Press down.
Do I have to press down while it's swinging? Anyway.
See, Josh had an adventure, and he knows how to work the bus because he was driving it
up and out.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
See?
Harder. Oh, it's probably got to be unlocked from the outside.
Okay. So now you tell us.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was unlocked.
It's fine. Anyways, you're here, and that's all. I
don't have to crawl up in the bus?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Not if you don't want to. There. Oh, that's even better. You're framed better than everybody else was. So, You've been around for a few years. We have a lot of very similar interests. So we've done some like pretty unique adventures.
Sure, yes.
But of all of the adventure memories so far, I'm asking everybody today, what is your favorite adventure we've had so far?
Favorite. I'd have to say our day trip to Perth. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
that was a lot of fun.
So I picked you up fairly early, right? We went and we drove. I'm not sure. Did we plan on going to Perth?
No, we just kind of drove.
We
We weren't really sure what we wanted to do.
So I knew I wanted a burrito.
Yeah.
And we stopped in Smith's Falls.
No, Carlton Place.
Carlton Place.
Yeah.
And I got the burrito and we sat and tailgated in the back of my.
So good. That was the best burrito. Oh my gosh.
The car was brand new then, right? And we just drove around and chatted, and that was a lot of fun. Caught up because we were like just after COVID.
Oh, we went to that little
although we talk
Bavarian brewery there. Yeah, in Carlton Place too.
And you showed me around Perth and some of the historical sites that I didn't know about because I've been through Perth thousands of times.
He means the graveyard.
No, it's the graveyard. And there was the horse monument.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And you showed me around some of the Sarah historical sites.
Yes, that's true.
High school and places, and yeah, that was fun. That was a nice day, and it was fun, and I learned that I really like Perth, and Perth is an awesome place. I've been back several times since.
Oh my goodness, I love Perth. So I have a lot of top contenders. Oh goodness, now I'm stuck between two.
I mean, the trip to Pennsylvania was pretty cool too.
Oh yeah, that's.
I'd never been to Pennsylvania, but I think I've been through Pennsylvania at least once. When we went to go pick up the dog and. Where?
Louisiana.
Yes, we went to Louisiana.
That wasn't me. You can't remember where he went. I did. That's funny. I want to say the Nova Scotia trip, but I'm not sure if I can count that as one adventure. You were there with the family for like a whole week though.
It was longer.
Well, 10 days, yeah. And so, but I don't we did so many adventures. There were
so many things
that I don't think it's fair to count that as one adventure memory. But we were everywhere because we were taking the kids on individual adventures, and so there are a lot of them, and I was filming stuff, and it we did a lot. So
and Nova Scotia is just fun anyway. Man.
Oh my goodness, yes, a million things to do in Nova Scotia. It's fantastic. But I still think maybe my favorite might be the first time we went out to hang out. There was a blues ukulele workshop.
Manitoba Hal's blues ukulele workshop.
Yeah, and it was freaking awesome. It was just so random. I certainly don't have a lot of friends who just play the ukulele, and I definitely don't have a lot of friends who would go to a blues ukulele workshop. Yep. So we went to do that, but then I realized that one of my favorite Indian restaurants was near there too. Right. And we went, and we went, and you'd been there too, and so we went there first, and then went to a blues ukulele workshop. I really like absurdity, and that was a good start.
Yeah, that was literally days after I came back from Kenya the first time, and I was still on Kenya time. That was weird and bizarre and awesome.
It was pretty awesome. Yeah, so we've got some interesting things in
following Sarah around has only made it weirder and more bizarre.
It is my thing.
Bring on the bizarrety. Is that a word? It is now.
Yeah. Do we have anyone left in there right now? No, except Lyndon. And I think
entire life is an adventure.
I think yes, I was gonna say there's not a moment that can you imagine just the magic of his life? Yeah.
He's a lucky boy.
He hangs out with Santa in the park and goes on a giant art bus with everyone he loves to a big hotel for.
Have you actually showed the art bus?
I did.
The art bus itself is an adventure.
It is. It's
driving
awesome.
it back from Nova Scotia was an adventure.
I had a big spiel at the front about all the things I want to do with this bus and how basically it's just taking all of the things I love and being able to
Melt 'em
mobilize them and bring people along with for the adventure.
I especially like on the front of the bus, so there's like a bowl of soup with someone's name. It's like, you know,
none of it makes any
yo-yo.
sense. I seriously
It's the
consider it like,
yo-yo soup bus.
I think it belonged to the Boys and Girls Club, and they were like incorporating
I'm
things
sure
from the kids.
It actually says right on.
I thought about, you know, maybe I'll paint over it someday, but I do really enjoy the absurdity of it. So
I think even if we paint over, you have to leave
the soup.
The yo-yo soup. In fact, I think it's
All right. Well, since Lyndon can't come speak for himself, we'll say goodbye to Josh and thank you for joining me.
Yep.
And now you have
my hoodie.
A very fun insight into some of the things that are happening in my life, like a fun new bus to have adventures on, and some of the adventures I've been on and memories with some of my favorite adventurers. So until next time, happy adventuring.